Hello and welcome to the Small Corner High Tea.
Ah, yes. We have many lovely snacks for you to peruse and snack upon this day.
All kinds of varieties of scrumdiddlyumptious victuals for you. As the spirit of competition looms and the first ever Lorcana Set Championships approach.
The most important thing that you can keep in mind is one's etiquette.
Yes, that's what we'll be discussing today at Cogsworth's finishing school for tournament etiquette.
Ah, yes. Grandfather Cogs, may he long reign.
Welcome back to Smorkana, everybody. I'm Brett.
And I... and I'm Katie.
Oh, we have so many fun things planned for y'all today.
We're at high tea. We're having a lovely tea with you today.
Yes, and we wanted to make sure that everybody was adequately prepared for the events that they will be attending in the near future.
Oh my gosh, the very near future.
Less than a week away.
Like, whoa.
So many blue aliens will be flitting about the world.
We should be so lucky.
Ugh.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I feel like we've been looking forward to this for like a year. And now it's really happening. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. And you can tell there's such a buzz around the community.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more people at local, casual nights.
Yeah, right. We went to a sealed event at our friendly local gaming store, Diversions, and we saw so many new people.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was so
of a sudden,
fun.
Folks coming out of the woodwork, everybody's getting pumped.
Pumped.
Yeah, Sealed was really fun. It was a combined Inklands and Floodborne format, so 3 packs of each.
Yeah, I liked that. Lately when we've been getting packs, we've been buying packs, we've been getting some of each kind because we can't decide which ones we want more. I think if they still had first chapter in the world, we'd probably be getting one of each of those too.
Yeah.
So it was nice. It was nice to kind of like satiate our desire to have some of both at this sealed event. It was really cool.
And we had never done that kind of format before, and I don't think it's too common. So it was nice to try to find some new combinations and see how cards would interact across sets.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about my deck. I had some good cards. I won 2, lost 2, so I felt pretty even coming out of the night. But Brett, you did really well. You won the whole sealed event.
Yeah, I did. I went 4-0, which was pretty sweet. I will say I got very lucky by unpacking a Perdita and a Sisu.
Oh, yeah. We had never seen a Sisu. I had to make that a joke. We'd never seen such a card before. We don't have any other Sisus, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I also had a stitched little rocket to go with the Perdita, which came in handy. I mean, like, those are 2 cards that are okay in constructed, especially Perdita can see some play, but in limited like that, oh my goodness, they were absolute powerhouses. They wrecked every single time they hit the board. There were times where I went Prince into Sisu, and Sisu ended up netting me like 3 cards over the course of the game, and that was just absolutely backbreaking for my opponent. So got really lucky with pulls and ran away with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had some pretty good pulls. I didn't pull any legendaries. No.
You've never pulled a single legendary in a limited event.
I know.
Which is like...
It's a special skill of mine.
Yeah, that's crazy odds.
But I got a lot of locations, which was fun. I love locations in a sealed event. I love just plopping them out.
Yeah.
Let them be.
So we had to play each other. You were 2-0 going into the 3rd round, and so we ended up playing each other. We were paired together. And I had heard you say like, oh yeah, McDuck Manor's just like, when I played that was brutal. That won me the game. And so I kept a Rise of the Titans in my mulligan just for you.
Terrible. And that was the end of our marriage and the end of this podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. That's not the sound podcasts make when they're done, but it could be.
It could be. We don't know.
We don't know.
We've never ended a podcast.
We haven't finished one yet, yeah.
Maybe someday. Nah.
Oh my God. Nah. Not ever.
Small con until we die. We also, we had a difficult work morning yesterday, or I did really. You came and just helped me out. Hanging lights for a show. And so we stopped at Diversions.
And we got 2
couple
packs.
First pack was pretty good. It was a Floodborn pack. We got a Cogsworth and a Lady Tremaine and a Honey Wizard foil, and we're thinking, well, that's a pretty good pack.
It is. I mean, now it is really good. When you get a Honey Wizard foil, like to go on a small tangent, it feels like the art in Lorcana is amazing, right? Like that's one of my favorite parts of the game, but I don't think we've ever reached the peak of Honey Wizard again. Like I think Honey Wizard is the peak, and I don't think anything surpasses that. And in terms of like just art, like
yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah, I want that on a t-shirt. I want it on a blanket. I want it on a cup. I want it on pants. I don't know. I want it everywhere.
You heard her, Raffensperker. We want Honey Wizard merch.
Give me that Honey Wizard merch.
And then the second pack, though. We opened an Inklings pack. And
it was amazing.
We got a Little John. We got a Starlight Vial, and we're like, meh. And then a Little John super rare, and we're like, okay. And then right behind Little John was his pal, foiled Mr. Hood himself.
A foil Robin Hood. Like, what?
Pretty good. Probably the second best card we've ever opened.
Also our only Robin Hood.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Yeah, we're 1/8 of the way to our rich person steel playset.
Someday we will be there.
Yeah. So we have a lot of fun things planned for this episode.
Oh my gosh. One of the funnest things we have planned is something that we've never done on our podcast before.
Yeah, we're doing our first ever giveaway.
Giveaway.
We're going to give away a sealed package of puppy sleeves.
Puppy sleeves. They're so cute.
They're really cute. They're the official, Dalmatian puppy amber colored sleeves.
Yeah.
A fresh pack of those are going to be sent out for free. We will tell you how you can enter that contest at some point during this episode.
Some point during the episode.
So, if you want to figure out how to enter that contest, you're just going to have to suffer through more of our droning on.
Got him.
Then, so for our appetizer course.
Yep, for our appetizer course, which I believe at this beautiful high tea is referred to as the Crumpet course.
The Crumpet course.
Yes.
We're going to be discussing the anticipated meta for the store championships.
Yes, who will we play? How do you beat these decks? What's going on? A little finger on the pulse of the meta.
Yeah, we're going to give some tips about how you can beat some of the top meta decks. We'll do one tip for each of the top meta decks.
Yes, and then for our main course, our tea course, we will be discussing
Cogsworth's finishing school for polite gaming society.
Ba-ba-ba-bam.
We're going to talk about tourney etiquette.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun things, hot tips to give you. Maybe you've never played in a tournament before. Maybe you've never played against anyone that's not your little brother. Maybe you've never played against anyone that's not on the other side of a computer. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, what to do when you're playing in real life, 3D.
Yeah. Then, of course, we have our dessert, which will be a new Bet You Didn't Know About Diz.
What?
Katie has a really funny anecdote for you today.
An anecdote related to etiquette, I would say, would be my clue.
Yeah, it's things that maybe you think are obvious, but apparently not everybody is aware of these rules for polite society. So
yes,
that'll be fun.
That'll be so fun.
We'll finish it off with a dream card mint, and we'll get you out the door.
We'll get you into this podcast and right out the door, right?
What do you say? Should we dive into? Would you, madam?
Oh,
are you ready? Are you ready for your crumpet course?
Oh yes. We are ready. What's your name?
My name is Bartleby.
Oh, thanks, Bartleby. It's so nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you, madam. I'll bring those crumpets right over. Madam, your crumpets have arrived.
Oh, thank you so much. These are beautiful. They're delicious. I see 8 different crumpets sitting out here on this plate in front of me.
These are our most popular crumpets, madam. I suggest you have at least one bite from each of them. Enjoy.
Wow. All right. What are we looking at here on this plate of crumpets?
Look at all these crumpets. 8 different color combination crumpets.
Wow.
Wow. Quite an assortment that we have here.
Yes. Now, were we anticipating all these crumpets?
Listen, the crumpet meta is wide open, everybody.
The crumpet meta.
So the kind of predominant trait of the meta right now is that it is wide open, that you can play any of the top 6, 7, 8 decks and do really well with those.
Which is great. That's great news.
Yeah, it's really, really, really great. It's good for the game. Nobody's going to get sick of any one particular thing.
Nope.
But I think let's give a quick overview of kind of what the meta's like, and then maybe talk about what we're playing.
Yeah, definitely.
So right now, pretty much any deck with steel in it is viable. I mean, any color combination with steel is viable. We've even seen some ruby steel decks crop up and do pretty well.
Yeah.
But you can play sapphire steel, emerald steel, obviously amber steel, and do great. Amethyst steel with Jafar.
Yep.
Then you have the ruby decks, the twin ruby decks of
Popsicle,
ruby sapphire, and ruby amethyst, the old standby.
Yeah, ruby amethyst, which is my horse for this race.
Yeah.
I'm really liking the ruby amethyst right now.
And then there's amethyst emerald, your tempo list. Generally, it's built pretty low to the ground, so a pretty quick deck. That's the fastest deck that is in the meta. Really popular, does well.
Yeah, and then there's a lovely Mufasa deck.
Yeah, the Wildcat.
Yeah, the Wildcat, which
But
you've really been loving. Yeah, right. Aw, poor Wildcat's wrench. You've been loving the Mufasa deck. That's kind of been your horse in this race.
Yeah, I really, really like Mufasa. I don't know why. It's something about it.
He's awesome. That's why.
Yeah, Rapunzel's probably my favorite card in the game, and I like the flexibility that you can build Mufasa with. Like, you can make that deck quicker, you can make it grindier, you can play Be Prepared if you want, you can play all characters, you can rely on ramp. There's just a whole bunch of different directions that you can go with it, so you can adapt it to your meta or your play style, and it's really fun.
Definitely.
Plus the gambler streak in me, I guess, is coming out, and I love flipping over the top card of my deck.
I mean, it's really scary as an opponent, too, to play against that, because I never know what's going to come out.
Yeah, you want to play the odds and be like, okay, well, statistically, this probably isn't going to be that bad for me, and then all of a sudden it flips a Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. And
right.
You're like,
well, that's the game. Bye.
And then I'd say the last kind of deck that you might run into at your set championships would be an aggro deck. I think those will be out there, particularly for players who maybe don't have as much experience. It's a good way for them to steal a few wins.
Yeah.
So let's go through, our horses. You were playing Ruby Amethyst, and I'm probably playing Mufasa at the one I get to play in.
Yep.
So let's talk about these top decks and give maybe one tip for how to beat each of them.
Yeah, so the first crumpet that I see on my plate here.
Oh, what's this one?
Is a lovely Steel Song crumpet. It's like a lemony glazed crumpet.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah, so what do we have to do here to defeat Steel Song besides praying?
Well, were I to sit down across from this lovely buttery glazed crumpet, I would remind myself not to share such victuals with Rapunzel. Don't feed Rapunzel.
Don't feed the Rapunzel.
So you just want to be careful of leaving a 3 strength character exerted on your side with a high willpower character on your opponent's side, so that they can crash into that character, survive, and then heal them with Rapunzel. I think Robin Hood is an example of a target that gets healed a lot just because he's got that high butt.
Yeah, he's got a high butt.
He's got a high butt. So, if you leave your, I don't know, like Stitch Little Rocket exerted on your side and they've got a Robin Hood, they can just crash in, heal with Rapunzel, boom, they draw 3 cards. And honestly, if that happens, that's often just game losing.
Yeah, it's really hard.
So just beware of that. If they don't get Rapunzels off, sometimes they are relying solely on A Whole New World, and you can take advantage of that for sure. Dump your hand as much as you can every turn, and try to keep pace that way.
Yeah, Whole New World can sometimes be a real benefit to you. If you can spot it coming, that can really boon your game.
Mm-hmm.
This next one that I have here is cold and dripping a little bit.
Ooh, a cold, wet crumpet.
Ew. Oh, It's a popsicle crumpet. That's why.
Oh, there's some red wood inside.
Oh, gross. How do we defeat a popsicle deck?
So popsicle decks can be really slow. They do very little playing to the board on their first few turns. So I'd say try to go under popsicle. That means go fast, yeah? Try to get as much lore as you can in the early game. Their customary way to combat that is the Rush Queen of Hearts, the 2/2.
Ugh, death.
So just try to go as quickly as you can. Play for early tempo for sure. Get as much lore before they play Be Prepared.
Yeah, makes sense. I love Be Prepared. I can't even be mad about Be Prepared in a popsicle deck like that either.
It's one of the shibboleths I have about new players. If I see them complaining about Be Prepared, I think that instantly that they're an inexperienced player, which is fine. But, it's such a common effect in card games. So, those effects are going to be around, and kind of the sooner you embrace it, I think the better.
Yeah, right. And again, similarly to Whole New World, there are ways to make it work in your favor. If you really are baiting them out to play things and you play something that's big that they want to get rid of and they have to get rid of a bunch of their tiny guys, like that can be good for you.
Yeah, if you're playing against a Ruby deck that's running Be Prepared, ask yourself at every point in the game what character or characters you will play on the turn after Be Prepared. You should have a strong answer to that, and that will help you a lot. The thing you want to watch out for is Lady Tremaine too. So you don't want to play a bomb character alone after Be Prepared. So try to save a little 1-drop.
Definitely. This next one that I see here is like a blueberry metal crumpet. What is this?
Crunchy.
oh, it's blue steel.
Ooh.
Now, blue steel to me, the biggest problem is with Lucky Dime combos, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's their win condition. If you can knock out the Lucky Dime so that they have to play Dime and a Bell or a Tamatoa in one turn, that can definitely be helpful. But I'd say the best way to beat them before that is by getting rid of their Fishbone Quill.
Ooh, yeah, get rid of that quill.
If you can either bare necessities away a Fishbone Quill early or discard a Fishbone Quill so that they only get one trigger off of it, and then they have to find a second, that can be crippling for that deck for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
They do have some redundancy with ramp with like Mickey Mouse Detective often, or some folks are running one jump ahead, but Fishbone Quill is the card that gives them the most consistent ramp over the course of the game, and if you can slow that down, then you'll be in a good position. Ooh, look at this crumpet.
Ooh, it's like minty.
Oh, a mint crumpet. Mint. I don't know much about crumpets. I can't say that I've ever had one. So you could tell me that there's a mint crumpet, and I'd be like, oh yeah, okay.
Well, aren't crumpets just like scones? Isn't that what a crumpet is?
I honestly don't know. And I mean, I'm showing my lack of snack knowledge here for a snack podcast.
I know, this is embarrassing.
And also, apologies to every single person living on the British Isles for what we're doing.
No, they're going to think it's nice. They're going to listen to it and they're going to say, wow, that's really good. Those accents are amazing.
Yeah. They're going to be so impressed with us.
I know they will.
They're going to be like, those are better British accents than ours.
They're going to be like, they must have been faking American accents the whole time.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, okay, we have our minty green
green metal scone, our emerald steel scone. So how do we deal with this lovely discard deck?
So their characters are really weak and they don't go very quickly. So you can be patient with this deck. You can prioritize card draw in your mulligans. If you have rabbits or something like that, make sure you're trying to hold bounce cards to bounce your rabbits and draw a ton of cards every turn. That will help you stay ahead of those discard effects. And then in the long term, your characters are probably going to be stronger than theirs.
Yeah, definitely.
I've also had some success with like Mufasa against a discard deck, where I'll just dump my hand so that they can't trigger Prince John. Mm-hmm. Just dump your hand every single turn and rely on your top decks. Pongo is an amazing card against that deck. If every turn you're just taking the card off the top of your deck, it can be really, really helpful. So I'd say either if you have the card draw, prioritize that and just keep your hand full, or dump your whole hand if you see some Prince Johns. And if you can rely on your top decking, sometimes that isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, nice. All right. We've got a sweet grape strawberry crumpet here.
Strawberry grape crumpet.
Yeah.
This is everybody's favorite crumpet. This crumpet's been taking down the crumpet tournaments for quite a while.
Oh my gosh, people can't get enough of strawberry grape. I'm going to have a strawberry grape at the championship.
Yeah. Ruby Amethyst.
So I understand. Yeah. How do you defeat Ruby Amethyst?
Ruby Amethyst has solid matchups against the whole field. They don't have a bad matchup. They also don't have, blowout matchups. So whenever you are sitting across them, you have a chance.
Yeah, right.
But they also have a chance against you.
That's what I like the most about that deck, is that we were trying out different decks and I was trying them on for size. And what I like the most about Ruby Amethyst is that you always have a chance. It doesn't feel like a matchup starts and it's all of a sudden just like game over.
Mm-hmm. I will say that if there's a weakness that the deck might have, it's that if you can keep them off of the board early and maintain some early tempo, you can get ahead and use that to carry you through the mid game so that when they do have to be prepared, you can respond and get the last few bits of lore. What I really mean is if you can keep Fox and Snake off of the board in the first few turns, that can be huge. So if you do have ways to remove some of those small characters, some of those one drops, prioritize that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, what's this next crumpet that we have sitting here?
Ooh, it's a quick little crumpet. It's like
it's tiny.
It's a tiny little quick crumpet. It's like you can eat it in a flash.
Yeah, it's like a little droplet crumpet. It's an amethyst emerald.
We're making up all kinds of wild crumpets here.
I bet these all really exist.
If you're from the British Isles, let us know if any of these crumpets could conceivably exist.
Yeah, and also what crumpets are. We know they go with tea.
Yeah, that's the only thing we knew.
We should ask Bartleby what crumpets are. Hey, Bartleby.
Yes, madam.
Hi.
Hello.
Could you tell us what crumpets are?
Oh, madam, that's very cheeky of you. Enjoy.
Oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. You thought we were joking. Oh no.
Wow.
Oh no.
Jeez.
Now we definitely have to act like we know what crumpets are.
Look at this amethyst emerald crumpet.
It's so tiny.
It's a little baby crumpet. So this is like we were saying before, the fastest deck in the meta potentially with those cursed merfolk, those cursed merfolk.
Cursed. Ursulas
offer some tempo blowouts with double Mother Knows Best sometimes, or just draw a ton of cards by double singing Friends on the Other Side. And they can gain lore so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes this deck goes so fast that you don't even use Ursula. You're just like flying straight to the finish line.
Yeah, especially if you're playing against Popsicle, right? And you want to go as quickly as possible before they get into their ramp. But yeah, I'd say the number one tip I have for playing against Amethyst Emerald would be to avoid Kit Cloud Kicker tempo blowouts.
Yeah.
What you don't want to do, if you can avoid it, is give a really juicy target for Kit in turns 2, 3, 4. So like if you have I think what happens to me with Mufasa against this deck quite a bit is like Minnie Mouse Surfer is just such a juicy target for Kit that you'd end up not wanting to play it. However, on the other hand, you've got Mother Gothel, who has that nice 3 strength. So Mother Gothel ends up being a solid play on turns 2 and or 3.
Right, even though she comes in with damage for something like Kit that's just going to pop her without even touching her.
Mm-hmm. And they don't want to be trading into your characters that much. They want to be bouncing them and questing. So I'd say if you can, get down those 3 strength characters.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Kit can be really upsetting to see on the board. Kit's a hard one to look at.
Yeah, he's a really good card.
All right. Ooh, we've got this. This next one's a big crumpet. It's the king of the jungle.
Yeah, big, huge, roaring, steaming hot crumpet right here.
Dang, that's a Mufasa crumpet right there.
It's got some ketchup and mustard on it.
Yeah. Ew.
Ketchup and mustard crumpet.
Ew. I think crumpets are like sweet things.
Really? They're like cookies?
I think so.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Nobody knows.
No one knows.
So Mufasa crumpets. Mufasa weirdly, I have found struggles with 3+ willpower characters.
Well, it has to struggle with something, because otherwise it's a very strong deck.
So just like Amethyst Emerald, you want to play the 3 strength characters for Kit. For some reason, just a lot of characters in Mufasa don't deal with 3 willpower well.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't have a healed Mother Gothel. So like, you've got potentially Teeth and Ambitions.
Yep.
You're playing Doc on turn 3 a lot, who can't really deal with those 3 willpower characters. You've got Simba as a 2-drop often, who can't deal with that 3 willpower. So Smee ends up being a card that can run Mufasa over and really hang in there, can trade really favorably if they have that hook Smee curve. So, if you can land a solid 3 willpower body, there's a good chance that Mufasa is going to have to ignore it for a while.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right. Our last crumpet here is
angry looking crumpet.
It's so mad. It ate all the other crumpets.
Wow, that's the only crumpet left. The last crumpet standing.
Yeah. It's aggressive.
Yeah. It's the aggro crumpet.
The aggro crumpet.
It sounds like something you'd have on Guts.
I was just going to say that because it sounds like the crag.
Yeah. Do you have it?
Aggro.
The aggro crumpet.
Now we're going to see if these 3 kids can make it up the aggro crumpet.
And Katie in purple was second with 4 points.
How we doing down there on the floor, Mo?
Hey, didn't Mike O'Malley go to your alma mater?
Yeah.
He was a theater major,
yeah,
right?
Everyone said he was like mean.
Oh no.
I never met him, so I don't know. People always say that about celebrities, like you never know. But he's like the one celebrity that came out of UNH, and I don't know. People used to say he was mean.
This is way too much Nickelodeon talk for
I know, what are we even doing?
Oops.
Blech.
So, aggro crumpet.
How do we beat the aggro crumpet?
Aggro crumpet. I'd say the best way to beat aggro is just contest. Make sure you're playing characters to the board, right? They do not want to be trading. So, go wide against them and as quickly as you can. Try not to dilly-dally with like rampant card draw effects. Just play to the board.
Yeah, contest.
Yeah. So, there we go. So, those are some of the decks that you might expect to face. And how to devour those crumpets.
Yum, yum, yum.
A delicious appetizer. I think it's time for high tea. Should we summon our lovely waiter friend?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi. And will you be serving us tea today?
Yes. Bartleby is quite busy on the balcony.
And what's your name?
My name is Rebecca.
Thank you. Thanks for helping us out, Rebecca. I think we're ready for our tea course.
All right. I'll see that Bartleby brings that out to you post haste.
Sir, madam, your tea course is prepared.
Oh, thank you so much, Bartleby. Wow, look at this spread of tea.
Now, I must say there are certain rules that we prefer that our guests follow when they are partaking in a tournament.
Oh, really?
A tea tournament.
Oh, this is a tea tournament that we're at right now.
Yes, here at Cogsworth's Finishing School for Polite Gaming Society, we like to play by the rules and perhaps go a bit beyond them.
Wow, all right. Well, we're certainly ready and willing to learn. Do you mind if we record you for our podcast?
Absolutely not. We want everybody to know about the rules for gaming etiquette.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. All right, what's the first rule?
The first rule pertains to hygiene, madam. Cleanliness is next to godliness. One must endeavor to circumvent all halitosis, odoriferous body cavities, and larded chemises.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's true.
That makes sense. Okay, so just want to make sure that if you're going to a tournament, a tea tournament, that you take care of yourself.
Don't stink.
Yeah, make sure you take a shower.
That seems to make
Brush
sense.
Your teeth.
For existing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, put on a nice clean shirt, maybe a Disney shirt.
Yeah, love that. That's
Okay.
easy to understand.
Wow. Thank you, Bartleby. That was really helpful. Oh, hi, Rebecca.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Oh, we're Bartleby was just telling us about the rules for polite gaming society. Do you know any of the rules that you want to share?
But do I know the rules? Of course. I've been at Cogsworth Finishing School for Polite Gaming Society for 40 years. Now, the next rule that you should keep in mind comes to the proper greeting. You must shake with your hand with 2 pumps, firm but not gripping. Inspire confidence, not ignorance.
Oh, so if we're starting a round with our opponent, give them a handshake or would a fist bump be okay?
No. Give them a proper greeting, a handshake with 2 pumps, firm but not gripping. Inspire confidence, not ignorance.
Okay, I guess it's pretty rigid.
Yes.
So, listeners, as much as Rebecca is saying that you have to shake your opponent's hand, you can give them a fist bumper and elbow. It's like we're in a post-pandemic world here. But I'd say some kind of greeting is nice and appropriate when you're meeting an opponent.
Yeah, you can even just nod your head. It's okay.
Yeah. But some kind of acknowledgement of your opponent as a human being is a good idea.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bartleby, what's the next tip? Rule, pardon me.
So, what we must avoid when we're sitting across from a new opponent is an awkward silence. Fill silences with chit and perhaps, if you feel indulgent, some chat. Topics could include the weather, a favorite ink color. Perhaps if your opponent is festooned with Disney apparel, you could compliment them on an appropriate choice.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, those are nice things to talk about. That makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, you don't want it to be awkward.
Make some small talk,
You don't want to talk, if they're really trying to focus, but it is nice to have a little chit-chat. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's a competitive event, but that doesn't mean that we can't be human. That makes a lot of sense, Bartleby. Thanks for reminding us.
I've got another rule.
Oh, okay, Rebecca, go ahead.
The next rule concerns how you carry your cards. You must have the proper sleeves. Do not flaunt your wealth by wielding raw cardboard pieces as if unconcerned with their longevity. When coating your pieces, strive for uniformity, opacity, and austerity. That means no ostentatious facsimiles of dated art, you charlatans.
Whoa!
Pardon me. I get very heated about these things.
Rebecca, okay, wow. I guess you're really fervent in your sleeving advice here.
Well, look, if we all follow the same rules, we'll have a lovely time.
So, okay, you said it was uniformity, opacity, and austerity. So, yeah, all your sleeves should be the same. They should be opaque sleeves, okay, and they have to be clear of art. You can't use art sleeves.
Yeah, this is a good rule to know. We didn't know that.
Yeah, and not everybody enforces this all of the time, but it just has to do with basically making sure that your opponent knows you haven't marked your cards in some way.
Yeah.
So it's easier to mark your cards if you have see-through sleeves or if you have art sleeves. So, make sure that you just have nice, flat, uniform, opaque sleeves.
Yeah, you don't ever want to get into that kind of a discussion in a tournament anyways, where it should just be fun because, you're not going to cheat on your sleeves, but you don't even want that to be like a thing. So
yeah,
that's
and
good.
You don't want your opponent to even be thinking that could be a thing. It
exactly.
just makes it a better environment for everybody. Right. That makes sense. Thanks, Rebecca. I mean, you're really aggressive in your delivery there, but thank you. Thank you for
thanks, Rebecca. That was awesome.
Rebecca, yeah.
You don't want to get on Rebecca's bad side.
I know, Rebecca's, whew.
All right, Bartleby, do you have any other rules, or is that all of them?
Oh, we have plenty of rules to cover, madam. Our next rule is that it is uncouth to count your lore collection on an electronic device. Do not bring gauche metallurgical electronics into the arena. It is tacky, and one may think you are using the device to advance your own game through trickery. It is always better to track your collection of lore on a handcrafted die or lore counter.
Oh, that's a great rule. Yeah, so you can't use your phone to count lore.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What with the internet and all these things. And
yeah, it's a little bit surprising, but it's actually, that one's taken me off guard. So thanks for the reminder, Bartleby. That one's gotten me before.
Yeah, it definitely could take me by surprise, but it also makes sense. Like, you don't want the distractions of somebody texting you, even if it's obviously not about the game, but still, you don't want to get like emails and texts while you're like trying to count your lore and focus. Like, I kind of appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder, Bartleby. I've myself have migrated over to using one of the little official spin down dial things that they give away in kits.
Yeah, and I have a spin down die.
Yeah,
that I love
really
so
cool
much.
tie-dye one.
Yeah, I've never used before. I've never used that kind of a die before, and it's like so cool. I love it.
Yeah, really fun. Oh, Rebecca's back. Rebecca's coming back. Oh my goodness.
Have you yet discussed the proper cutlery?
No, we haven't. Could you?
I would love to.
Yeah.
When cutting an opponent's deck, be sure to use care and the appropriate cutlery. One hand will do the trick. Ensure that the hand is clean and steady. Then you may cut the deck with great caution as not to cause a defect in your opponent's pile. Even if you are well acquainted with your opponent, it is standard in high society to offer this gesture of cutting.
Oh yeah, okay. I've seen that done before, Rebecca. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's nice. You cut a deck, so
So always offer your deck to your opponent and let them cut it. They can also shuffle it, and you can do the same for their deck. It just says, I'm not stacking my deck. Here you go.
Yeah, right. Again, eliminating any thoughts or concerns about any cheating or you're trying to cut corners or anything like that. You just eliminate it all. You're like, we're all on the same page. Here we go. Let's play the game.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think, is that all the rules, Bartleby?
No, of course not. There are plenty of rules.
Sorry.
We've more to go through. This one has perhaps caused a bit of a controversy, but I must say, in the unfortunate event that you commit a faux pas, it is unseemly to attempt to revert the situation. However, our most gracious contenders may allow for a reversal. Such superlative behavior is never expected, but always celebrated.
Wow, Bartleby.
Yeah.
Do you love that rule, Bartleby?
I think it's Bartleby's favorite
gosh.
rule. He was really
excited cry there
about
at the end. Yeah, that was awesome.
So okay, so don't ask for a take back. Is that yes? Don't ever ask for a take back.
That makes sense. If you make a mistake, you don't want to be like, I do that again.
Right. So there are these ethical kind of debates, right, about, granting your opponents a take back. And the way to avoid all of those is to never ask for a take back, that it is impolite to some degree to ask for a take back because it puts your opponent in the position of looking like the bad guy, I guess, at the tournament, to say like, I actually know, like, you sorry, but you committed to a play.
Right. Where, what could happen, which is, I think, part of the debate that's going on now, too, is that your opponent could point it out and say, oh, do you want to do that again?
Sure.
Because they know that you did, like, if you massively, like, Madam Mimmed your own card, that might be a time where your opponent maybe would step in, and then you're lucky for that, but,
Yeah, I mean, my personal view on it is that I will always allow for takebacks. I just think it's something that it doesn't affect the strategy of the game. Like, that's how you want to win. You want to win via strategy, not because your opponent like played the Madam Mim Fox on an empty board.
Right.
You know, like that doesn't feel great. So like I'm of the mind that it creates the best possible community and makes the game as fun and accessible for the most people if the attitude is generally more forgiving. And at higher levels, players aren't likely going to be making those kinds of mistakes anyway. So I think it mostly affects folks who are newer and less experienced. And so let's make the game as conducive to those players as we possibly can.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know that in the history of TCGs, it's kind of, this has been a sticking point for competitive play. And I'm just of the mind that like Lorcana doesn't have to be like every other game, and we can create a community that is a little bit more forgiving and still competitive.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's an aside. Sorry to interrupt there and disrupt your instruction, Bartleby.
We have more rules.
Oh, okay,
There's no
Rebecca.
time for discussing the other rule, apologizing to Bartleby, etc., etc. We must get through the rules.
All right, Rebecca, what's the next rule?
The next rule is that you must strive for the refinement of the upper classes. Approximated cardboard pieces, what some folks refer to as proxies, is it?
Yeah, proxies, yeah.
Approximated cardboard pieces are indicative of weak social standing. If for some reason you have not received your shipment of cards in time for the championships, perhaps borrow them from a colleague, or use a different cardboard piece in its place. The deck may suffer, but your dignity will remain intact.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. No, just no proxies. You can't use proxies in proper tournaments.
In layman's terms, you are correct.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Really good points.
Yeah.
And I guess, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, and you can't use proxies. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps what I might refer to as the golden rule of gaming society etiquette. Game upon others as you might best wish to be gamed upon.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, just, okay, yeah, treat
others how you want to be treated?
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Just, remember that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Let's have a fun time.
That's nice. That relates to everything we've said so far, for sure.
Atmosphere is infectious, right? So, if you're having fun and you have a positive outlook on the day's events, then that will spread.
Yeah.
There's another rule.
Of course there is. How many more rules are there for gaming etiquette? This is
several.
Looks like there are 2, sir. Oh. Okay, 2 rules. We can get through 2 rules.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's totally easy.
Okay, so what's the next one?
The next rule is don't be techie. These matches can be heated events. Do not allow your emotions to get the best of you. Whether you win or lose, show appreciation for the game played. Shake hands and keep moving forward. Not all winners have class, but those who have class are always winners.
Grace in victory and defeat.
Indeed, Bartleby.
Yeah, sure. So whether you win or lose, do it with a smile on your face.
Yeah, don't throw a fit. Don't toss your cards in the air.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
And compliment your opponent on their gameplay, whether or not they played well.
Right. Just be cool. Just be cool about it.
Cool.
It's a Disney card game, and we can have fun with it in life. No one's going to die. So have fun.
Yeah. Show a little grace.
Be chill. I think they said there was one rule left.
One final rule. At the end of your tournament experience, thank your hosts. Afford your hosts the respect you would give to a well-favored uncle or a moderately favored grandmother. That is to say, their hospitality is worthy of your respect and gratitude. Go neatly when relieving yourself. Further patronize their company, and let not their own quietude be mistaken for neglect.
Wow, Bartleby. Okay. Go neatly when relieving yourself was shocking to me.
It's not that shocking to me because if you've ever been to a men's room at some of these places, don't miss.
Ew.
Please.
Oh, no.
And wash your hands.
Oh, yeah, you're touching cards. Please be cool.
Yeah,
Gross.
just, do that. Take care of the store that you attend. Remember that it is an effort for them to create this event and try to make sure that they want to keep doing those kinds of events in the future. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Bartleby.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
And thank you, Rebecca. This has been really enlightening.
It is our pleasure to discuss these rules, isn't it, Bartleby?
It is my life's great devotion.
Well, thanks.
Thanks. All right. I think we're ready for this. Tea was great.
It was delicious. Yeah, really nice.
It's
I feel
nice to know
and warm.
how to go through a proper proper tea with the proper rules and etiquette. That's great.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're ready for dessert.
We hope you have enjoyed your experience here. We'd like to present you with this final amuse-bouche, a dessert for you, one scrumptious bite of anecdotal bliss.
Oh, that's amazing, Bartleby.
Cool. It looks like it reads, bet you didn't know about Diz right here.
Oh, bet you didn't know about Diz.
Oh, you were playing coy. You made this, didn't you?
Aw, man.
Oh, tell us about it.
Yeah. So my bet you didn't know about Diz week. Oh, we should do that more often.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Diz week.
Diz week
is a little story, a little anecdote from a time when I worked at the Walt Disney World Resort, and I worked at Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith, presented by Haynes.
A really fun time.
A very fun ride.
So set the scene a little bit. How did you work on the ride? Like, what was your job?
So when you work at an attraction, you work all the different parts of the attraction. So there's a bunch of different roles you have. You work out in the front. You work at the main entrance, like the standby line. You work at the Fast Pass line, and you work at the single rider line. That's all like the front of house, essentially, right outside of the ride. And then inside of the ride, there's a role that runs the turnstiles. So that's marking how many people come in through Fast Pass and how many people come in through standby and making sure that the Fast Pass people have a short wait, all that kind of deal. And then there's someone who works in Studio C, which is the pre-ride show. Like if you've ever seen the little show before the ride where Aerosmith comes out and they're like, we need a super stretch limo. Yeah, make it a stretch. That's a really fun role because you get to be on the speaker in that room and tell everybody like, wow, looks like you got a supersized limo. Oh my God, you're going to go on a VIP tour. Let's go.
Get to do a little acting.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. And you can like milk it up however much you want. And like,
Nice.
It's silly and fun. Yeah.
Did you ever say anything particularly ridiculous to folks when they were about to get on the limo?
I mean, there's a lot of fun little sayings and things that you get in the rhythm of saying. Telling everybody to fill in all the available space, like make like a butter on a hot English muffin and fill in all the nooks and crannies. Like, there's all kinds of like fun little lingos that you pick up. You mostly pick up from other people who are really good at it and have been there forever and are just like deep in the Disney lore of it all.
Just gets passed down from person to person.
Oh yeah, it's so cool. It's very neat. So those are all the rides. Those are all the positions before you get to the ride. Then at the end of the line, there's two people who do grouping. So there's front grouping and back grouping. So front grouping is you're standing at the line, you ask how many people are in the party, and then you send them to the back grouper. The back grouper puts people in their seats, and there's two people on either side of the car, right? The super stretch limo, the roller coaster. And they make sure that everybody's seated and they have their things on, their restraints on, right? That they're clicked in and that they push them up and make sure that they're locked in. They're never not locked. They always lock, but you just have to make sure that they're locked in close enough to the person's shoulders and that no one's uncomfortable and all that kind of stuff. There's like a reset pedal they can reset the things on. Anyways, those two people are on opposite sides of the tracks and they each have a green light that they both have to confirm before the ride can take off. So it's never like one person who gets to confirm this roller coaster is ready. Two people have to check it. Two people have to press the green button and the green button above them also has to be green. And then there's someone who's sitting in a little office, like cubicle kind of looking thing that looks like it's the entrance to a parking garage because that's the whole bit that we're in here, right? And they're in control of watching all of the screens of all of the rides and all of the like locations in ride, right? So they're making sure that when the ride is about to launch, that nobody has their arms out of the restraints, nobody has a camera out or a phone out. And the reason that Disney tells you not to use your phone or your camera on a ride is not because they don't want you to film the ride. It's because they don't want you to hit yourself in the face with your own phone or your camera. Like, especially on a ride like Rock and Roller Coaster, the launch is so intense because what happens is you're getting pulled back from row 8, I want to say. There's a little hook that hooks into the bottom of the ride and pulls you back, and that's what releases and launches you. Like you're one of those toys that you
like
roll
a slingshot.
back. Yeah, right. So a lot of people don't see it coming on Rock and Roller Coaster, and Rock and Roller Coaster only goes 0 to 58, right? It's not actually 60 miles an hour. It goes 0 to 58. So it's not that fast, but you still would definitely whack yourself in the face.
The acceleration's pretty intense.
Yeah, so you would either hit yourself in the face with your camera would fly out of your hands and hit somebody else. Your camera would fly out of your hands and fall on the ground, and you would get mad at Disney because now you don't have your camera anymore. Mm-hmm. So, like, just enjoy the ride, for Pete's sake.
Was this a common? This seems like it was a common occurrence.
Yes, all the time, because then it stops the ride.
Yeah.
Then you have to, as the person in the control booth, you stop the ride. You don't hit launch, right? The person in the control booth is the one that hits launch on the roller coaster. They say, okay, we're ready. They hit launch. That starts the 3, 2, 1, animation, right? Uh-huh. So once they hit launch, they can't stop it again. I'll come to that, more about that in a second. They can't stop it again, right? So the person who's at that front position, the two people who press the green buttons to get the roller coaster to go, they have to walk down the path of the ride, go to where it launches, and say, you have to put away your phone, or you have to put your arms in the restraints, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
Holding up everybody.
Yes. Little kids would always try to put their hands through the restraints, which is so dumb. Do you want to fly out of the roller coaster?
Jeez.
You wouldn't, but like, maybe you wouldn't. Let's maybe not take that risk on a roller coaster that has like 3 inversions, Let's not.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that person hits go, the ride goes, then at the end of the ride, there's 2 people who are at unload. Similarly to the other position, they both have green lights that they have to push, when the ride is ready to go on to the next spot. They take everybody out of the ride. They make sure everybody's okay. They tell them where to go. They make sure everybody has their stuff out of their pockets, that the seats don't have any like thing in them, any substances in them. Nobody puked on the ride, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody had any other substances leave their bodies, which I'll get to in a moment. And then they send it on, right? And that's it.
So you had to work at every single one of these positions when you were working Rock and Roller Coaster. That's
I didn't
cool.
want to brag, but Rock and Roller Coaster is one of the hardest rides to learn in Disney World. I think harder is Tower of Terror, but they're both really similar. Mm-hmm. I mean, it might be different now, right? It might be Guardians of the Galaxy now or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or, something in Galaxy's Edge.
Sure.
But in my day, it was the hardest ride. It takes 8 days to train on it.
Wow.
If you're training on Small World, it takes, I think, 2.
Sure.
Maybe 1,
that
maybe an afternoon where like the boats go. And in Small World's defense, when I first got the college program, all I wanted to do was work a boat ride because I was terrified of roller coasters. Like, I did not want to do it. I had ridden Rock and Roller Coaster before and I liked it, but I just was not a fan of roller coasters. Now I am, because nothing'll make you a fan of roller coasters like working on one and having to be a fan of it.
And you got to ride it every single shift, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. If you were lucky, you get to ride it every shift. So
that's a pretty cool perk, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. We once had a manager who turned off all the lights in the ride, so the ride is in the dark, right? But there's a lot of day glow items in there, right? There's a big day glow donut you can go through and like all this stuff that lights up. And the lights are also what run the 3, 2, 1 countdown, which tells you when the ride's going to be starting. And remember, the person in the control box gets to hit go. So this manager turned off the lights and sound.
Oh my goodness.
So we had no idea when the roller coaster was going to start. And so you can feel the hook if you're like listening for it, right? Or if you ever ride it with us someday, you'll know when the hook is in the ride, right? You can hear like a little like, and it hooks it backwards. And the manager let us sit there for like 10 seconds and just wait. And everybody was like, it was awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we rode it with the lights on. Like you get a lot of really cool perks. I've ridden Space Mountain with the lights on, which I do not recommend.
That seems like it would be terrifying.
Space Mountain with the lights on. Like, I can't ride Space Mountain anymore now because I'm so scared of it. Riding it with the lights on. I mean, I still do ride it, but
yeah. Last time I went to Disney World, we rode it like 4 times in a row.
Yeah. It's a great ride, but
okay.
So you see a lot of crazy things. I have many crazy stories from Rock and Roller Coaster.
But you told me one story that pertains to etiquette of a fashion, and this one has really stuck with me, and I think it's entertaining and baffling at the same time. So tell us about some etiquette breaches that you may have experienced.
Yes. So at Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith, presented by Hanes, you will not run into a bathroom until you exit the ride, right?
Is it sponsored by Hanes because like you need new underwear after you ride
Maybe.
it?
It's sponsored by Hanes because if you take the standby entrance, and you kind of see it from the Fast Pass entrance too, there's a bunch of like concert t-shirts on Hanes shirts that are framed in the lobby.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's where Hanes comes in.
All right.
But it's technically Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith presented by Hanes. But anyways, there's no bathroom, right? It's not like Avatar where there's a bathroom in the middle of it and it's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for 4 hours. It's never that long of a line. Sometimes, like, it might get to be 2 hours at the most. That's like the most I ever saw it at.
At like Christmas time.
Yeah, but usually I would say it's probably about an hour or so at standby, like pretty consistently. It's a popular ride. It's going to be about an hour, which is why you should just get a fast pass. Also, back in these days, fast passes were $0. You could just get one. So anyways, people often got upset with how long the ride took. They wouldn't look it up. They didn't know, even though they are told by the person who's at the entrance how long the line is.
There's a giant sign that you have to walk by.
Yeah, there's a million people there to tell you the wait time.
But
Anyways, we're in Studio C where Aerosmith's telling you that you will get a super stretch limo to come with them backstage of their concert. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Here we go. We're going to get in the limo.
This is like a room. It's like a big rectangular room. It fits like 100 people maybe?
Yeah, so it's a carpeted room. It's got 2 levels and there's a bunch of hidden Mickeys in here too. So in this carpeted room, you're looking at a recording studio, right? It's supposed to be, you're checking out Aerosmith happens to be recording today. Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. Come on in, right? That's part of what you say is like your little entrance spiel. And you tell everybody to move in. Aerosmith comes up and they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are here. Yeah. And there's 2 levels. I'm standing up on a higher level with single riders, and then everybody else is in a bottom level. And it's, once again, carpeted. So, and you're pretty close to the ride. You're about 10 minutes away from the ride right now. And we're doing the whole spiel. I've got a full room of people. And the spiel ends and Aerosmith's like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you got backstage passes. Whoa, this is amazing. All right, you're going to head right out. Well, so what you would say is you're going to walk this way because it's Aerosmith. You'd be like, walk this way to get to your super stretch limo and fill it on that available space. You're going to have a great time. Hope the highway traffic isn't too bad. Whatever, all that stuff, right? And this woman comes backwards to me, which people don't often do because they'd like to ride the ride. And she says, someone just peed. And I was like, what? And now cut to, I'm 19 and I've grown quite a bit on this adventure, but no one's ready for this. And she was like, yeah, that woman over there points to someone in the crowd who I could like barely make out, like, because there's so many people, right? And there's so many women over there. She goes, yeah, she just pulled down her pants and peed in the corner. And I was like, what? So now I'm stuck on this top level, right? There's no way to jump over the top level to get to the bottom level. So I have to stop the show. You can pause the Studio C show, so it's not like constantly being like, hey, you guys. Like it doesn't, you get to hit play when people are in there and ready.
Hey, we're so glad you're here. Right? Just go ahead and pee in the corner if you need to.
Over and over, right. So I'm like, okay, I have to stop the doors from opening. So I do. I call my manager and I'm like, hey, somebody peed on the floor in Studio C. And my manager was like, what'd you say? And I said, they peed. Someone peed. And they were like, okay. And then they came to me really quickly and they went down and looked at the spot, and I could also see the spot because while I was waiting for them, right, I went out and I told the person who was standing there at the front at the standby fast pass line, like, it's going to be a minute. Someone just peed on the floor. I forget what the code is, but there's a code that you use. It's like, code 8 or something when
code yellow.
It's not code yellow, but it is. I mean, it is similar to that though. It might be code yellow. It's something like that where like you can say it to a fellow cast member and without being like, someone peed. So anyways, I was like, we're dealing with a sitch. So they're out there trying to entertain the crowds as you do, like, oh, Aerosmith's having they're missing a band member, so give them a minute. And my manager comes down, they put towels on it, which is what you're supposed to do at Disney, right? That's like the protocol. If there's, someone pukes on the ground, you're supposed to there's like this dry chemical that's in the bottom of every trash can in Disney World that you can pour on top of puke to make it smell nice, and then you put towels on it or whatever. Or you just stand there and guard it. Many times in my life, I have stood across a pile of puke to make sure that nobody walks on it. But anyways, you put towels on it, and then you just wait for custodians to come in and clean it up. And that's what we did. They put towels on it, and then my manager stood in front of the towels like that until people came to clean it up, and then, yeah.
So our advice, your best etiquette advice for going to Disney World would be
don't pee inside of a building, please.
On the floor.
Because that woman, they didn't get to catch her before she went on the ride. Because that was like, that's me trying. I have to call the next person that has a phone, which is the person who's at the loading spot, right? Where like they're having to check harnesses and stuff. So they do pick up the phone, but they have to load everybody in. It takes a minute, right? So I'm calling them to say, hey, you have to tell the person at front loading that there's this woman that looks like, I don't know, like indescript woman. Like because this other woman didn't tell me many details because she also wanted to get on the roller coaster. And then this woman must have told someone else about the other woman because then my manager found her when she got off the ride and then she was taken out of the park. So, don't pee because they'll find you. They're very good at finding you. Don't worry.
So the real lessons from today's podcast are just like pee in the right places, everybody.
Yeah, pee in the right places, please. That's our PSA.
I hope you enjoyed your dessert course, madam.
We really did. Thank you, Bartleby.
Perhaps you learned something about the world.
Yeah, we did. We learned not to pee in places where we're not supposed to.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't want to seem brash. I thought you were I thought you heard our story.
I just prefer to talk about such things in hushed tones.
Yes, sorry. That you should only relieve yourself in the restroom.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I've brought you a delightful mint. Thank you for joining us at Cogsworth Finishing School for Gaming Society Etiquette.
Thank you.
Look at this. Ooh, a purple mint.
A tasty dream
our
card.
First ever amethyst dream card.
I can't believe that. We both had to double check that it was actually our first amethyst dream card.
Yeah, wild. It is, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this card.
So we have a 3-cost uninkable song called The Cards Will Tell.
Ooh, and this picture is amazing.
A little freaky Dr. Facilier manipulating some cards.
Yeah, rolling them all around.
So the text is, of course, you can have a character of cost 3 or more exert to sing it. The text is, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and choose an opponent. Play a revealed character of that opponent's choice for free. Discard the rest.
Yeah.
So a little bit of manipulation where you flip over the top cards of your deck, you spread out your opponent's fortune in front of them, and then they get to choose one to put into play.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for a deck that runs a lot of characters. It's kind of like a bonus Mufasa.
Yeah, it would be great in a deck that's really stuffed with characters. It'd be great to run in a deck that's stuffed with big characters to guarantee that you hit something. And I think it would be especially cool as a payoff for some of these top of deck manipulation cards.
Definitely.
Like if you're able to play the bosses on a roll and, maneuver things around so that you have the best hits on top and then you play this. Yeah,
we've been waiting for something that's going to work with those manipulation cards, right? Because those manipulation cards work anyways. Like you get to know what you're going to draw next. You get to eliminate something that's not going to work for you right now. But beyond that, there's not much to them.
Yeah, Sorcerer's Hat hasn't quite landed.
Yeah, putting things in the bottom of your deck doesn't seem to make much of a difference yet. There's nothing really playing with that. So this is really fun.
Could be fun. It's a really, really, really strong card. It's possible that it should cost more, but whatever.
It's also risky, though, because it's possible that you wouldn't get any characters and then you get nothing from it.
Right. If you get like 1-drop action item, then, that's not a great play. You've lost some major tempo there. But on the other hand, if you're able to manipulate it, it can be a huge bomb.
Yeah, I mean, if you can play it on curve and then you pop out like a 7-cost something.
Imagine singing this with Ursula too.
Oh yeah, forget about it. I didn't think about that.
On turn 4, you get 2 characters for free. Oof.
Man, I just got so excited about this and then I had to remember it's not real.
Yeah.
I was like, we should put that in our Ursula deck, but we can't.
It might be busted. It might be that it has to cost 4 specifically so that you couldn't play it with Ursula. But you know what? When you're making dream cards, you want to stir the pot a little bit. Why not make it a little bit of an adventure?
Dream big, baby. Dream big.
Big. It's giveaway time.
Giveaway.
All right, Katie, how will our listeners enter this giveaway contest?
Oh, it's very exciting. Our listeners can email us at smorcana@gmail.com. smorcana@gmail.com.
And what are they going to email us?
They are going to email us the following. Tell us the Disney character, the animated Disney character, that in your opinion has the best manners.
I love it.
Yeah, we want to hear about the people who don't even need Cogsworth finishing school for polite gaming society. We want to hear about them. Who are the ones that could teach there? Who are the ones that have the best manners?
We're really excited to interact with some of our early listeners, our early adopters of the podcast. We put a good amount of work into prepping this and then editing it and putting it all together. So we wanted to thank the folks who have taken a chance on us early on in our podcasting careers.
Yeah, and we've been fortunate enough to get some of these cool duplicate promos that we don't necessarily need in our collection, but we know that others might be hunting for. So
really excited to try to give back a little bit. All right, how about what's next on our menu?
Oh my gosh, this was episode 10. Can you believe that?
It's really cool.
It's double digits.
Yeah. Next week, we're going to talk about spicing up some cards. We're going to talk about little played cards in Lorcana and how we might spice them up to make them more playable.
Yes, pairing that with some of our favorite spicy foods.
You'll also get a little bit of a recap for 2 of our 3 set championship events.
Yeah, we'll be in the thick of it next week.
Yeah, so that'll be really exciting.
Yeah.
Until then, if you're enjoying this podcast, please do tell everybody you know. Tell folks who you think might enjoy it as well. Give us feedback if there's stuff that you're not enjoying. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube.
Yeah, give us a comment, leave us a like, send us something, let us know you're there. All we want to do is hear from you. We love talking about Lorcana, and we want to talk about Lorcana with you.
Until next time,
keep on snacking.
Nom 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 nom.